There is a moment that most people never talk about, not because it did not happen, but because it is too painful to admit. It is the moment you realized, somewhere deep in the part of yourself you rarely visit, that the life you are living does not feel like yours. You wake up and go through the motions. You do the things you are supposed to do. You say the things that are expected of you. And at the end of the day, when the noise quiets down and you are alone with your thoughts, something in you whispers that this is not it, that this cannot be it. You have probably spent a long time trying to figure out why things are the way they are. Maybe you blamed your upbringing. Maybe you blamed someone who hurt you, who left you, who never gave you what you needed. Maybe you blamed the economy, the system, the circumstances, the timing, the people around you who never seemed to see your potential. And the painful truth is that some of that blame was justified. Real things happened to you. Real people failed you. Real circumstances worked against you. None of that is being dismissed here. But there is something that Sartre understood with terrifying clarity, something that most people spend their entire lives running from, and it is this. The story you tell about why you cannot change is the very cage you built for yourself. Here is what nobody told you, and what most people are too afraid to hear. You are not a product of your past. You are not the sum of what was done to you. You are not the result of your environment, your genetics, your trauma, or your failures. According to Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the most radical and unsettling thinkers in the history of philosophy, you are nothing more and nothing less than what you choose to do with everything that happened to you. That sentence might sound motivational at first, like something on a poster, but it is not. It is one of the most destabilizing ideas ever proposed, because it removes every comfortable excuse you have ever used to avoid confronting the one truth you fear the most, that you are free and that your freedom is absolute, and that it has always been. Sartre built his entire philosophy on a single foundational claim, one that reversed thousands of years of thinking about human nature. He said that existence precedes essence. Before him, most philosophical and religious traditions assumed the opposite, that human beings arrive in the world with a fixed nature, a predetermined purpose, a soul shaped by God or by biology or by fate. Sartre demolished that idea entirely. He said that you are born first, without a blueprint, without a manual, without a destiny written in advance. And then, through every choice you make, through every action you take or refuse to take, you create what you are. There is no pre-written version of you waiting to be discovered. There is only what you do. This is not a comforting idea. It was not meant to be. It is, in fact, one of the most terrifying things a human being can be told. Because if there is no fixed nature, if there is no essential self that was damaged beyond repair by what happened to you, then there is also no one else responsible for what you become. Most people live in what Sartre called bad faith, and this concept is where the real confrontation begins. Bad faith is not simply lying to yourself. It is something more sophisticated and more insidious than that. It is the act of pretending you have no choice when you do. It is the performance of helplessness in a life that is, at its core, radically open. When you say, I cannot leave this job because I need the money, you are partially telling the truth and mostly hiding from it. When you say, I cannot change because of my childhood, you are using something real as a shield against something terrifying. When you say, that is just who I am, as if your character were a fixed object rather than a living practice, you are doing exactly what Sartre meant by bad faith. You are pretending to be a thing rather than a process. You are choosing to be a stone when you are, in fact, a flame. And now, before going deeper, a moment to stop and ask you something directly. How long have you been carrying the weight of something you secretly believe is your fault, but you have never been able to say that out loud? How long have you been blaming someone or something because the alternative, taking full responsibility, felt too heavy to bear? If that question landed somewhere real inside you, write it in the comments right now. Just copy and paste this. I am ready to stop blaming and start becoming. You have no idea how many people are watching this right now, feeling exactly what you feel, carrying exactly what you carry, and believing they are completely alone in it. Your comment will reach them. Your honesty will be the thing that makes someone else feel less invisible. That matters more than you know. Now here is where Sartre goes further than most people expect, and where his philosophy stops being uncomfortable and starts being devastating in the most liberating way possible. He said that we are condemned to be free, not invited to be free, not encouraged to be free. Condemned. The word is deliberate. It carries the weight of a sentence, of something you did not choose and cannot escape. Freedom, for Sartre, is not a gift. It is the permanent condition of human existence, inescapable and absolute. Even when you choose not to choose, that is a choice. Even when you follow orders, defer to tradition, do what everyone expects of you, you are still choosing. There is no outside the choice. There is no moment where you are simply being carried by the current without your consent. The current only flows because you let it. This is where the concept of angst enters, and it is not the casual anxiety of modern life. It is something more fundamental. Sartre described angst as the dizzying recognition of your own freedom, the vertigo, that comes when you look over the edge of a choice and realize there is nothing holding you back except yourself. The person standing at a cliff's edge does not fear that they will be pushed. They fear that they could jump, that the capacity is entirely their own, that no external force controls what happens next. Most people respond to this angst by immediately reaching for a role, a label, a story, anything solid to hold on to. I am a victim. I am a parent. I am someone who has always been this way. Sartre says, none of those are you. They are costumes worn to avoid the naked terror of being the author of your own existence. But here is the recontextualization that changes everything, the part that even people who have read Sartre sometimes miss. Taking responsibility for your life is not the same as blaming yourself for your pain. Sartre is not saying you chose your trauma. He is not saying you deserved what happened to you. He is saying something much more precise and much more powerful, that what was done to you is the past, fixed and real, and what you do with it is the present, open and yours. The past has weight, but it does not have authority. It can shape you without owning you. It can inform you without defining you. The moment you understand this, really understand it at the level where your body changes, is the moment the world looks different. Because blame, whether outward blame toward others or inward blame toward yourself, is always a way of freezing the story. It is a way of making the past into a permanent sentence. And Sartre is saying the sentence was never permanent. It was always a choice to keep reading it the same way. The comeback Sartre is describing is not a dramatic event. It is not a single moment of revelation that washes everything clean. It is something quieter and more radical than that. It is the daily practice of refusing to hand your authorship to anyone or anything else. It is the act of looking at your life with all its wreckage and all its possibility and saying, this is mine to write. Not because everything was fair, not because you were not hurt, but because you are here and you are free, and freedom does not wait for fairness before it becomes available to you. Sartre lived through the Nazi occupation of France. He understood what it meant to be in conditions of oppression, of external force, of brutal limitation. And even then he insisted on the irreducible freedom of the human being, the freedom to choose how to respond, what to mean, who to be inside impossible circumstances. That is not naivety. That is the hardest possible form of hope. If this video reached something in you that you have been quietly avoiding, do not scroll past this moment. Press the like button right now, not as a gesture of habit, but because this philosophy needs to reach the person who is still blaming themselves or others for a life that has not yet become what they know it could be. That person exists in your circle. They may be closer than you think. And if you want to keep going deeper into ideas that do not comfort you, but genuinely transform you, subscribe to this channel. Every video here is made for the person who is done with surface-level answers and ready to face the kind of truth that actually changes something. You are that person. This channel was built for you and it will keep showing up for you, one idea at a time.